Hello everyone, myself Dr. Madhuri, Team MDS Conquer. So now I'm going to discuss about the carcinogenesis in this video. So these are the contents of the carcinogenesis where you can mention apart from the carcinogenesis, you can add like classification of the oral cancer, its etiology and the risk factors, and finally the clinical signs and symptoms and TNM staging of oral cancer, which is important. And if you want, you can include the recent diagnostic procedures and the treatment of the oral cancer also. So if you take this oral squamous cell carcinoma is the histologically 90% of all the histological variant, but 90% of all the cancers or the oral cancers are the squamous cell carcinomas. And you can mention the classification of oral cancer, which includes this, like epithelial cancers and hematolymphoid cancers. And these are the salivary gland cancers, which include salivary gland carcinoma and salivary gland adenomas. You can mention these names like carcinomas of salivary gland. And finally, the soft tissue cancers. You can mention these names. So those 4 categories of cancers are the classification which you can include in the exam. Then if coming to the etiology, so these are the risk factors or the etiological factors like diet and nutrition, viruses, radiation, familial predisposition, immunosuppression, mouthwashes, syphilis, and other few dental factors and occupational risk. These are the important etiological and risk factors for the cancer. So if you come to the pathogenesis of the cancer, there are 4 theories in the carcinogenesis. Okay, that is molecular pathogenesis of cancer, chemical carcinogenesis, physical carcinogenesis, and the biological carcinogens, which include the viral carcinogenesis. They can ask like individually, like mostly they can ask like only the molecular pathogenesis of cancer or only the biologic carcinogenesis or the viral oncogenesis. If you start the molecular pathogenesis, there are 2 important theories representing this molecular pathogenesis. First is the genetic theory, which is the most popular theory. Okay, and here this theory suggests that most cells become neoplastic because of the alterations in the DNA. But if you take the epigenetic theory, it is less well supported, and it states that the carcinogenic agents act on the activator or the suppressor of genes rather than the genes themselves and result in the abnormal expression of the genes. Hence, it is called as a epigenetic theory. Then field theory of cancer. Okay, here if an organ is developing the cancer, in only the limited number of cells will grow into the cancer after undergoing sequence of changes and the influence of the etiologic agent. So this field effect or the concept is termed as field theory of cancer. And if you take the multi-step process of cancer growth and progression can be seen here, whereas the carcinogenesis is a multi-step process involving many generations of the cells and so form genetically and phenotypically transformed cells having phenotypic features of malignancy can be seen. It shows the excessive growth, invasiveness, and distant metastasis. Hence, this is the multi-step process of cancer growth and progression. Then the monoclonal hypothesis, here, according to this theory, cancer arises from a single clone of transformed cells. These are the genetic regulators of normal and the abnormal mitosis. This is the proto-oncogenes, anti-oncogenes, apoptosis regulatory genes, and DNA repair genes. These are the normal cell growth genes where if the activation of proto-oncogenes, inactivation of the anti-oncogenes, abnormal apoptosis regulatory genes, and failure of the DNA repair genes will lead to the cancer cell growth. So you can represent this table in your exam. So this is the molecular basis of cancer, and if it is a normal cell, if it has, if the normal cell is exposed to any chemical carcinogen or a radiation or a virus, DNA damage takes place. But sometimes this DNA repair is successful and again it returns to normal cell. If it is not successful, the genes affecting the apoptosis mutate, it turns into a mutated cell. Then there will be activation of oncogenes, inactivation of anti-oncogenes, and apoptosis regulating cells, which leads to the formation of a cancer cell. And finally, there will be clonal expansion and tumoral progression, which leads to a malignant tumor. So this diagrammatic representation is important for the molecular basis of cancer. So those are the things which you have to write when in the molecular carcinogenesis, like epigenetic theory, genetic theory, your proto-oncogenes, anti-oncogenes, apoptotic genes in your normal cell and how it acts in the cancer cell, and finally the diagrammatic representation of molecular cancer. And coming to the chemical carcinogenesis, here the chemical carcinogenesis is initiated by a chemical carcinogens. Okay, and here the stages of chemical carcinogenesis include initiation, promotion, and the progression. So if chemicals exposure of the normal cells to chemicals takes initiation, and if in few cells it will be DNA repair is seen, but if initiation is seen, then it will turn into a cell with adducts, then promotion, which leads to the cell proliferation, then again the cell proliferation form the finally the progression. So these are the steps in the chemical carcinogenesis. There are few important tests for the chemical carcinogenicity. So the traditional method is to administer the chemical compound under the test to batch A of experimental animals like mice. And if that is example like painting on the skin, giving orally or parentally or by the inhalation. And repeated administration dose varied after many months, the animal is autopsied and results are obtained. Then the test for mutagenicity next is test for mutagenicity, which is also called as Ames test. You have to mention this in the exam. So this Ames test will evaluate the ability of the chemical to induce the mutation in the mutant strain of Salmonella typhimurium that cannot synthesize the histidine. So these are the important points regarding this Ames test. So those are the important points you can mention when in the chemical carcinogenesis. Then coming to the physical carcinogenesis, this physical carcinogenesis has an effect of radiation here, that is the ultraviolet light and the ionizing radiations are the two main forms of radiation carcinogenesis. If you take the UV light, it will penetrate into the skin for the few millimeters so that the effect is limited only to the dermis. And this efficiency of ultraviolet as a carcinogen efficiency depends upon the extent of light absorbing protective melanin pigment of the skin. Okay, if exposure is more, it will cause like squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma, and malignant melanoma. Mostly this incidence is high in the fair-skinned people and the Europeans. Mechanism includes induction of mutation, inactivation of enzymes, sometimes will cause the cell death, then biochemical effects can be seen, and mutagenic effect of UV radiation is associated with recessive hereditary diseases. These are the few mechanisms here. And if you take the ionizing radiation, the radiations are X-rays, beta, gamma, and radioactive isotopes. Photons and neutrons can cause the cancers in animals and the man. And this risk of cancer increases by dose with a high LET. LET means the linear energy transfer. And with high LET things are neutrons and alpha rays, whereas the low LET are X-rays and the gamma rays. And high incidence of radiation dermatitis and malignant tumors of the skin in the X-ray workers and the radiotherapist. And the high incidence of osteosarcoma in American watch working girls engaged in painting the dials with luminous radium. So even the radium workers will also have a high increased chances of cancer. So mechanism of the ionizing radiation, it may directly alter the cellular DNA or the formation of a high reactive free radicals damage. So that is regarding the physical carcinogenesis. Coming into the biologic carcinogenesis, which is caused by the oncogenic RNA viruses or DNA viruses. If you take the oncogenic RNA viruses, and these are the examples of viruses which causes carcinogenesis, and pathogenesis is mainly it is by the induced T cell leukemia, lymphoma, and this HTL1 infects many T cells which causes polyclonal proliferation of autocrine and paracrine pathways. And the gene involved here is TAX gene. Then this TAX gene will neutralize the growth inhibitory signals by affecting this TP53CD. This mentioning of genes are important in the carcinogenesis. Okay, so you have to remember few genes in this answer. And then coming to the DNA viruses, 4 DNA viruses like HPV, EBV, HBV are associated with cancers. If HPV, this oncogenic potential of HPV will related to 2 viral genes, that is E6 and E7. E7 is binds to the retinoblastoma. Then high risk of stimulates the loss of tumor suppressor genes like activate the cyclin and inhibit the apoptosis. When you take the low risk HPVs, will give rise to benign warts. Okay, when high risk HPV results in the cancer, whereas the low risk HPV, human papilloma virus, results in the benign warts. If you take the HBV, it contributes to the oncogenesis by the B cell proliferation. And these are the important 10 hallmarks of cancer which you have to compulsorily represent in your answer. That is excessive autonomous growth, refractoriness and growth inhibition, escaping the cell death, avoiding cellular aging, continued perfusion of cancer, invasion and distant metastasis, DNA damage and repair system, cancer progression and tumor heterogeneity, and this multi-step process phenomenon, that is a multi-step theory, and finally the microRNAs in the cancer. So these are the hallmarks of the cancer which are very important. Then there are few important points which you have to write, where the excessive and autonomous growth, that is growth promoting oncogenes. Though these are the mechanisms by which proto-oncogenes become activated oncogenes. By these mechanisms, by the mutation or a retroviral inversion or damage to the DNA or erogenous formation of extra copies of proto-oncogene. So these are the important growth factors, receptors for growth factors, cytoplasmic signal transduction proteins, nuclear transcription factors, and cell cycle regulatory proteins, which you have to remember for your exam. Then the growth suppression of the anti-oncogenes, mainly by the mutation of the normal growth suppressor anti-oncogenes. Okay, and this mutated anti-oncogenes will behave like a growth promoting oncogenes. So these are the important anti-tumor suppressor anti-oncogenes and the location. At least you have to remember the names of these tumor oncogenes and the associated human tumors. And the genes that regulating apoptosis and cancer. So you have to remember these genes. These are the pro-apoptotic factors. Then avoiding cellular aging and telomerase and telomere in cancer. So these are the mechanisms how it will avoid the cellular aging. Here, after each mitosis, usually there is a progressive shortening of the telomeres, which are the terminal tips of chromosomes. But here, the telomere is active in the normal stem cells, but not in the normal somatic cells. This is the important point. So, cancer cells in the most malignancies have markedly upregulated the telomerase enzyme. Hence, telomere length is maintained. Hence, thus cancer cells will avoid the aging, and mitosis does not slow down or cease, thereby immortalizing the cancer cells. These are the important points you can write. And in the continued perfusion of the cancer, that is tumor angiogenesis, cancers can only survive and thrive if the cancer cells are adequately perfused. Okay, neovascularization the cancer not only supplies the tumor with oxygen and nutrients, but also the newly formed endothelial cells also collaborate to few growth factors for the progression of the primary as well as metastatic cancer. So important point you have to remember is the metastatic cancers can be developed more because of this increased tumor angiogenesis. So these are the promoters of tumor angiogenesis. So anti-angiogenesis factor inhibiting angiogenesis. These names you have to remember, the factors. Then the cancer dissemination is the metastasis process. So the detached cells also enter the circulating blood and lymph, from where they can go to the secondary tumors or the developing secondary tumors in the new sites. Okay, these form the distant metastasis resulting in the widely spread cancers. Then coming to the mutation genes and the cancer. So P53 gene is held responsible for the detection and the repair of DNA damage. If the system of DNA repair is that this system is defective, then the mutations can happen and the repaired DNA cannot be repaired, and this unrepaired DNA is passed to the next progeny of the cells and cancer can result. Cancer progression and the heterogeneity. This means the cancer cells will remain in the monoclonal origin only, and they will acquire more and more mutations in turn. So this is the thing you have to write for the cancer progression and heterogeneity. So this is the multi-step theory, because this cancer will occur in the sequential steps. Okay, hence the initiation, promotion and progression will be in a proper sequence, and this multi steps are involved with the cell proliferation of the cancer cells is activated by activation growth promoters, loss of growth suppression, inactivation of intrinsic apoptotic mechanisms, and escaping of the cellular aging. Then microRNAs are the evolutionarily endogenous and non-coded single-stranded RNA molecules. Usually they act as a post-translational gene regulators, and recent evidences indicates that they have an oncogenic role in initiation and the progression of the cancer. So those are the completely regarding all the pathogenesis, which also includes the hallmarks of the cancer in detail. Then finally you can end your answer with writing few clinical signs and symptoms, then DNA staging, and few diagnostic procedures like how the conventionally you will inspect or palpate your the oral cancer patients. Then find all the like chairside investigations, which include the vital staining and the radiographic examinations, and treatments like treatment which includes that uh, which includes the radiotherapy, chemotherapy, immunotherapy. So you can mention 4-5 points in the end when the carcinogenesis answer is given. So these are the important clinical signs and symptoms. As all of us know, this in the head and neck patients, you can see like dysphagia or adenophagia, loss of sensory function and loss of function involving the tongue, so that it can affect the speech, swallowing and diet. These are the common clinical signs and symptoms. So this staging is very important. You can mention TNM, that is the primary tumor cannot be assessed for TX, and this is the staging. The tumor T1, tumor 2 centimeters less, T2 more than 2, T3 greater than 4, T4A is moderately advanced local, T4B is very advanced local disease. And this category for the nodal thing, regional lymph nodes thing. Finally the M thing, that is for the metastasis, and finally the staging, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4A, 4B and 4C, the stage 4. So you can mention the TNM staging at the end. So these are the references which are used for this video, and as I've told, you can use the, you can write the things like recent advances, like recent diagnostic procedures along with the common diagnostic procedures like vital staining in the answer, and you can finally end your answer with the small treatment plan, which includes like radiotherapy, you can give chemotherapy, immunotherapy, etc. So thank you everyone. Have a nice day.